So I'm wearing the exact same shirt, which means that I recorded this on the same day I recorded yesterday's video. Fun times. So, it's Rant Friday, which assumes that I have something to rant about. And, in a way I do, but it's not really as vehement as some of my earlier rants. What I want to talk to you about today is Falcon Heights. Now, for the most part, Falcon Heights was an enjoyable place to live. It was nice to have my own room, and while the room was fairly small, it was big enough that it provided what it needed to. And the common room itself was a nice area where I could just relax. And I got internet, which is more than I really got the first 2 years, so that was also nice. And the building itself, overall, was a fairly nice place to stay. But with all the positive, there does come a few negative aspects, which is what I'm going to talk about today. Now, there were 4 things that I did not like about this building. And I am going to tell you them from the least annoying to the most annoying. So here we go. Number 1 was the mailbox. I don't know how many of you in high school or middle school had to deal with combination locks. I didn't really during high school, though they were available, you just had to pay for them. I never paid for them because my previous experiences with combination locks weren't good. I mean, you'd think it'd be as simple as just turning to the numbers and then it should open, but that never worked for me the first time, and it really got frustrating as I kept trying to get it to work. Now, the mailbox at Harshman was actually fairly easy. There were 7 letters arranged around the mailbox, and you got a 3-letter combination that you had to turn to open the mailbox. This was fairly easy, even for somebody like me who can't really use combination locks. Falcon Heights, on the other hand, decided to be even more complicated. They had a very standard combination lock. They had, I believe, 50 numbers around this lock. So you had very specific numbers like 13 or 25 or 63, except 60 didn't exist, but you get what I'm saying. That meant that this mailbox was extremely confusing, and it was very rare when I actually got it correct the first time. Now, while this was pretty annoying, I put it fairly low on the list simply because I wasn't the only one who had to open that mailbox. Since this was a mailbox shared by 3 people, it was very often opened by somebody else, and they just got my mail for me unless there was a package. Number 2, the turnaround. For those of you who don't know what a turnaround is, it's basically a turnoff right next to the dorms where cars can pull in to pick up people or to help load things or to drop off people, etc., etc. So when it comes to having turnarounds, it's important to have it wide enough to fit 2 cars side by side. That way you can have people parked on one side to help load things in, while you have other people driving past to drop people off or driving past because they're done doing what they have to do. A good example of this is actually the turnaround at Offenhauer. Offenhauer is a dorm room that's directly across the road from Falcon Heights. And I actually have footage from both the Offenhauer turnaround and the Falcon Heights turnaround, and I'm going to show both of those to you to show a contrast. So this is the Offenhauer turnaround. As you can see, there's plenty of room for 2 cars to sit together side by side, so that there's plenty of room for cars to get out. Now, here's the Falcon Heights turnaround. While there is technically enough room to have 2 cars sitting side by side, there's not really that much room to have 2 cars sitting together side by side. This thing is so narrow that every single time someone has to inch past the other cars, I'm concerned that they're going to run into them. It's so ridiculous that I honestly don't mind when people stop in the middle of the road to drop people off, because this turnaround is just horrible. And while I do see this as slightly more annoying than the mailbox, there's no point in saying that I use it on a daily basis, because I don't drive. There are many cases when people pick me up from the Falcon Heights turnaround, and it becomes painfully obvious just how bad it is. Number 3, the entrances and exits, or the lack of entrances and exits. Okay, so there's basically only one entrance into Falcon Heights. Technically, that one entrance is divided into 3, because there's one main entrance and then 2 side entrances, but when you get right down to it, there's one entrance. And I did actually read in the BG News that this is becoming the norm for all of the dorm rooms. Because the side entrances people can prop open and people can walk in, and so it's for safety reasons. And I guess I understand that, but part of the problem with Falcon Heights is just that there are a lot of people living in them. And really that's the thing about Harshman and the rest of them, too. If we just had the one entrance at Harshman, we'd have a lot more bottleneck problems. Kind of like we did at Falcon Heights. What you're seeing now is footage of us walking back inside after a fire alarm. There are so many people living inside Falcon Heights that when the fire alarm goes off and everyone is in the building, or almost everyone is in the building, and they all try to go back in, there's always a gigantic traffic jam as they all try to go inside. Even when people go around to the side doors, it helps them get inside the building faster, but not to their actual eventual location. Because here's the thing, not only is there only one entrance and one exit, there's also just the one staircase and the two elevators. I just don't like it. For one thing, it's just mildly inconvenient, but also I can't help but think that it's not particularly safe. When you have a large number of people cramped inside the staircase or inside the elevator, it seems like that's more dangerous than if you had other entrances into the building. But maybe that's just me. Finally, number 4, easily the most annoying thing about living at Falcon Heights. The other 3 things are very minor compared to this one. The mailbox can be opened by other people, the turnaround is not necessarily something I have to use, and while the entrances and exits are kind of lacking, it's still really just a mild inconvenience that never really lasts all that long. But number 4 is the fire alarm. This is really where the rant comes to play in today's video, because this is one of the most unnecessarily loud and unnecessarily annoying piece of equipment I have ever had the misfortune of having to sit through. Words can only do so much in this case, so what I'm going to do is show you an actual clip from an actual fire alarm. But before I show you that clip, I would like you to turn your volume down. I will give you a cue both when I'm about to start and when you can turn your volume back up. The start will be a 3, 2, 1 point, and the volume back up I'll just do this. But it's very important that you turn your volume almost all the way down until you can't hear it anymore. I mean, obviously not all the way down, but move it up a little bit. Hopefully you're doing that right now, because at the moment all I'm doing is rambling, because it is very important that you turn down your volume, because if you don't, it could end badly for you, and I don't really want it to end badly, particularly for those of you who are using headphones to listen to this right now. So hopefully by now you've turned down the volume, and if you haven't, then you still have time, but I'm about to show the clip in 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can go ahead and turn up your volume now. I'm going to give you a little more time to turn up your volume. Hopefully you turned down your volume. If you didn't, you're having difficulty hearing right now probably, and I apologize for that. But I did ask you to turn down your volume, and I meant it. So hopefully by now, volume's back up, so I can go back to explaining why that's annoying, not that I really have to if you listen to it at all. Here's the thing about this fire alarm. It went off a lot. I don't know if this was because the fire alarm was more sensitive than usual, or if the people staying at Falcon Heights were just stupid. I'm leaning more toward the latter simply because it seems like every single time it went off, it was because of hair products. And I mean every single time. And as you no doubt noticed from that one clip that I showed you, it's really frickin' loud. I mean, it seems entirely unnecessary for it to be that loud, and the fact that it is boggles the mind. It's loud enough that apparently when the RAs go in to check the rooms while the fire alarm is still going off, they have to wear earplugs. But we don't get that leisure. And it's this, more than anything else, that makes me really glad that I am not living in this building anymore. So, that's my vlog for today. I have no doubt that I have a lot of footage to sift through, so this should be fun. But one last thing before I go away completely, this is going to be the final vlog in this space. I hope you enjoyed this area. I know I did. And I will see all of you at a later date, probably back home. See you then. So this is the Offenhauer turnaround. As you can see, there's plenty of room to fit both cars. What?